Alright, welcome back to Sleekcraft Sundays. In this episode we are going to glass in the knees that we installed last episode to make that transom really stiff.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
And we are also going to make some history today because we're going to be installing that stringer and filming it with a drone. So I don't think that's ever been done before, but yeah, we're gonna get a drone shot of installing the stringer and it's gonna be awesome. So cheers to creating a historic, monumental shot that people will speak of for generations.
Oh yes, this is gonna be like
all right, so we have done
cinematographic legend.
Before we get to the stringer, first I'm going to show you guys how I glassed in the knees. I actually used up the rest of my resin. It is now Friday afternoon, and the only progress I have made since the last video was just glassing in the knees and stiffening that transom up. So let's do that first, and then we'll get to the stringer installation. So what I'm doing right now is I'm prepping this for more glass. I want to round the upper corners of this knee so that the glass can go over it nicely. And then I just want to clean up some of these jagged strands of glass and try to even this out so that water doesn't capture right here and not make it to the drain plug. So basically I'm just going to try to smooth some of these areas out. So this stuff's pretty cured now. I'm gonna do a layer on the top of the knees here, and then I'm gonna do woven roven in key areas and like up on the tunnels and stuff. So round two, fight! right, Sarah. So now that we have that cardboard there, just get that loaded up with acetone and then crawl up under the bow of the boat and wipe out that stringer area so that we get a really good bond.
Yeah, hard no. Here you go.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I've been up under there so many times. Have you been up under there even once?
I did it all on the last boat. I learned my lesson. I'm not going under there. It's not happening.
Is that thunder?
Yeah, it's north of us though.
God, the storms. All right. Fine.
Your turn.
What could go wrong? Ugh. So remember when I said you should wear a mask and gloves? Yeah, alright.
Now we're going to put in the stringer with a thunderstorm like a mile that way and hope that it doesn't hit us. She says that it's not going to hit us, so I believe her. So what we've done so far is just wiped out the hull with acetone to make sure that there's no contaminants on the glass that'll mess with the resin. And what we're going to do now is just put this thing in here, I think, just to talk about it. We are going to have to mix up a ton of resin with Cabosil. I actually ran out of resin last Sunday, and today is Friday, and we just got 2 more gallons of resin. We have a day and a half to get the stringer and the floor in, right?
Yeah. Yay, weekend!
So what we're going to do is we're going to try to mix up a huge batch of resin with Cabosil, because we have all the ingredients now, and I think
we use our plastic bag method if possible, so that we can squirt like a big long line because it's going to squish outward. The Weather Channel said it's not going to hit us. That's all I know. It is right over there though. I mean, but it's sunny there and our weather comes from there right now, so.
Okay.
This could be exciting. Yeah, well, we're not going to start yet till that's gone in.
All right, one other thing I want to talk about. All right, Sarah, you feeling limber?
Oh boy.
Because now I'm going to talk about limber holes.
But
Nope, that's the name of them. All right, so this is a limber hole, and basically what it does, it allows the water to go down the hull and go over to the drain plug, which is on this side. So normally they're just holes. I notched the whole corner off because I hear that they get clogged with leaves and stuff, so that way it won't get clogged. And so we're just gonna, once we get this thing in here, we're also gonna glass this stringer into the transom here. All right, let's do it. All right, so the knees are glassed in. Now it's time to mix up some more batches of resin for the stringer installation. Again, I ran out of resin Monday, I think.
yeah.
So we have 2 more gallons of resin. I'm just using this True Composites brand. It's been okay. But we need to make a lot of it because we need a lot of this stuff to install the stringer. The goal is to make a paste with a ton of Cabosil, so it's like peanut butter. Put it on the middle of the hull, down the center line, and then squish the stringer into it. And then we, again, want to radius both of those edges where it comes together. So the thought here, since we just have these little tiny mixing cups, is we're actually just going to cut the tops of these off. And instead of using those little tiny mixing sticks, we're going to be using these guys. So
We pretty consistently underestimated how much resin we were going to need for every step of this, so.
yeah, this is just so much.
I know.
Here, I have an idea.
Show the camera.
Yeah, this is too much Cabosil. Here.
Okay to mix them, you think?
Probably. I have been. I've been adding
Okay.
resin to both of them. All right, we have both of them mixed up to a peanut butter consistency. One of them is pink, one of them is brown. I don't know why. But now we are going to install the stringer and launch the drone, and we are going to need some little liquid courage here to just make sure everything goes smoothly. This is an important thing in Wisconsin. Okay. All right, hold on.
I know, it's a lot. It's like this has been building up like this.
Yeah, this is a very important part.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to put hardener in both of them because they're going to fire off at the same time. And then what I found has been working really well is we take is this a gallon?
Yeah.
Gallon bag and put it in a 1-quart bucket, and you dump it in here, and then once you have it in the bag, let all the air out of it and roll the ziplock shut. If you don't roll it shut, you have a very messy time sometimes because when you squeeze it to come out that corner, it pops and gets everywhere. How do I know that?
Ask me how I know.
So always roll the top. Okay, should be good.
All right.
Let's do it.
A drone might land on me while we do this. You gotta...
Where did we miss?
Here.
Yeah, it's not perfect. I think once we get some more resin, what I want to do now is just paint the stringer with resin and let it soak into the COOSA a little bit, that first layer. It's closed cell, but I just want something thin to get all the little voids. If we have any other ones, it'll just, and then that'll be a nice new resin batch that's adhered to this area of the hull. And this is what we sanded with a flappy paddle and then wiped down with acetone, you know?
Here, do you want to try to, this is hard to do upside down, you want to smooth out that little bit there?
That was like just enough resin, huh?
Yeah.
We're like friggin' experts. The drone didn't fly because I had the wrong blade on one of the corners. You know how they're coated?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. So then I sprinted into the house and grabbed the extra blades and launched it, and then it got all stupid and crashed somewhere. That drone is cool, but it's frustrating.
A little temperamental.
That looks pretty good, boys. Nice. Sarah.
What?
Stringer's in.
There's a stringer in the book.
So excited. All right, so what time is it? Do you know?
No, I took my watch off.
All right, well, I think it's tape time. I think we have enough time to do some tape. So she's going to mix up some resin and throw it on some of the tape, the fiberglass tape, roll it up, and then hand it to me, and I'm going to paint it onto the stringer before the sun sets, which is really soon. All right, so this is the 6-inch. You can see on the weave here that it's biaxial, so really strong. And then on the back, it has a chopped strand mat. That chopped strand mat is going to absorb a bunch of resin and kind of, again, conform to irregular surfaces. So this is the surface that will be against the stringer in the hull, and then the biaxial will be on the outside of the stringer. So Sarah's gonna mix up some resin right now. All right, so we've cut up the Nidacore. This is the honeycomb panel. It doesn't weigh anything. And you can see it has that non-woven fabric on both sides of the polyethylene honeycomb. And then this is the biaxial cloth that has chopped strand on the inside. So what Sarah's gonna do is cut these guys so that we have pretty much a matching pair of biaxial pieces. Wet out some resin on that non-woven fabric and then lay this thing on there. I might need you to help you with that because it's a pretty big piece. Yeah. So, very cool. So after we noticed that we didn't round over the top of the stringer, I really need to do that. I wanted to use my router table. It would have been really easy, but we forgot. So I went out and bought a router. This is a Milwaukee M18 2723 compact router. And this was the cheapest router I could find that had a vacuum hose attachment because I'm really trying to keep the inside of the hull clean. I'm pretty bummed that we forgot to do this. I really didn't want to have to grind once we started fiberglassing, but it looks like this is what's going to happen. So this is a router kit that I bought on Amazon just because it was cheap, link below. It seemed like a pretty good value, but the first bit that I used was just a 1/4 inch straight bit. And what happened was I was cutting some slots for some drawer floors or drawer bottoms, I don't know, whatever you want to say. and this bit just snapped right off, and then the tip of this bit got sucked down into the router and destroyed the armature and took out the whole router. So I was hoping to just replace these one at a time when they got dull, but yeah, I learned my lesson, and now I'm only buying the nice bits. So this is crazy. The drone just auto landed, and it landed on my roof and rolled over and almost took like a 2-story nosedive onto concrete. But if you can see it, it's all right. I gotta go help Sarah. What's going on, Sarah?
I need more resin now because I can't smooth this out without more resin, and it's gonna like bond not correctly.
Oh, did you start in the middle?
Yes.
Okay.
Then needed to do an edge as an anchor point that we're about to run out of. You can add more resin to this bucket here if you want, but
But wow, I think the one thing that I didn't take into account is these boards are cheap. But how much resin do you think just this took? Half a gallon?
Yeah.
So for one 8-foot section, it's probably going to take a gallon of resin. So factor that into your costs. I did not. So the cloth on here is that biaxial stuff, and what Sarah's doing right now is it's still a little bit flexible. It's starting to get firm, but we're just going to put weights on the edges to help push it down into the Nidacore.
Need more rocks.
And theoretically, this parchment paper should prevent it from sticking. Theoretically.
Okay, so it's raining, and he's on the roof. I got the Nidacore. Good God. It was not supposed to rain. Hopefully Rob does not fall off the ladder in the rain while rescuing the drone. No, he's good, okay. Okay, this is fun. Shit, and it's like actually raining now. Alright. That's happening. I can't pull it by myself, you gotta help.
That way. What the sh**? It wasn't supposed to rain.
I know.
Alright, that's it for this episode. It's decided to rain, even though AccuWeather promised us that there was a 0% chance of rain.
We've been lied to.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so late in the day that there's, even if it stops raining, by the time we get everything back out, this is where we wound up, with stuff laying in the driveway and the boat half-ass covered. Stay tuned for next week. We should have the stringer finished, and we're going to add a couple more tabs on the transom.
Mosquitoes love you.
And hopefully get the floor installed. So cheers.